Down here in my raised bed garden, and I'm gonna give you my 5 biggest mistakes that I've made or I've seen people make. And number 1, when you put your raised bed, location, location, location. You gotta have at least 6 to 8 hours, maybe just a little bit more sun. You just can't put them under a shade tree or in a bunch of trees. Your vegetables, they will grow, but you will not get no fruit on them. So you need to at least put them where it's you get at least 6 to 8 hours, at least 8 hours, I would think. 6 minimum on some vegetables. Some need a little more than 8. So I've got them between my high tunnels. East is this way, west is that way, so they get plenty of sunlight here, and it's not a problem here. And I went to had a friend of mine's made a raised bed, is in a bunch of trees, would not produce fruit. His plants would grow, and he said, "What's wrong?" I went over there, too much shade. I mean, probably not even getting an hour of sunlight. So you need some sunlight for your vegetables to grow. Tip number 2 on raised bed mistakes. You got to remember, this is just an elevated garden, so you're basically growing in ground. So if you look at this one, there's no bottom in this. It's not a container, it's a raised bed. Containers are totally different. Containers have bottom. You ain't got to worry about weeds coming up. So now in this instance, I've got weed fabric underneath this. It's between our high tunnels. We put weed fabric and wood chips down. So I just put this one right down here, and weed fabric works really good to keep the weeds out, but the problem is the worms can't come up through it. But we're going to start some new herb garden up there next to the flower garden, and I'm going to take you up there and show you what we did up there. So in this instance, we are going to make this a herb bed where we plant our herbs, and of course this is on grass, so you can see I put cardboard into this one and a lot down there. And the reason we put cardboard in there is that cardboard will eventually break down, and then worms can come up. It'll stop the weeds and the grass from coming up through here. Eventually it'll decompose, and then the worms will come up through the wood chips and into the dirt, and so it'll break down that wood chips a lot faster. So if you're going on bare ground like this, I would recommend using cardboard. Don't put a lot of tape in it though. The tape, packing tape, so some of it might be the glue in it could be toxic. So you can kind of see the difference, you know, the cardboard will break down and everything. So, but this is just where I'm growing, and this is a good location for me, and it still works. It's just not, if it's the other way's a 10, this is probably an 8.5, so it'll work. So that's number 2. My 3rd tip is you don't need to put nothing to cover this dirt. I got a prime example right here. We got a little cold snap, and I put some straw over these carrots here, and you look here, you see there's no carrots there. It's all weeds. So when you introduce something like that, to me the drawback of the weeds is not worth conserving water or whatever you put mulch down for. You're gonna get weeds no matter what. And I had carrots in here that I started way back in the fall, and I tried to cover them up, and I mean, just all it did was introduce weeds to this bed. So I'm gonna have to flip this bed and get rid of all this stuff. You see right here where I got beets going, I didn't do nothing, and you see there, you don't hardly see any weeds. You're still gonna have a few weeds. I mean, you still gotta go through and pick them out. Over here, we got asparagus growing, and I don't see very many weeds in there. And then back here we got some carrots that are getting pretty close. And you can see now it's got some weeds in it. Right here's one. So we come through about ever so often and get rid of those weeds. But it's not that big of a deal. You know, just remember, I don't believe you have to put nothing over. I think that's a big mistake. Back here we planted some rhubarb. Started to say rebar. Rhubarb in the back. We're not going to cover that up or nothing. We just leave it to dirt. So the 3rd biggest mistake I've seen is trying to put some kind of mulch or cover over your dirt. You don't need that, and it gets hot. It gets hot between these tunnels, and everything right here does fine, so you don't need that. So I grow mainly, I mean, I've got like, you know, 3 or 4 acres of in-ground vegetables, but I cannot grow carrots in my soil, so that's why I've got these beds, and I have a hard time with beets. And we're growing rhubarb here because this will keep growing year after year, and that's another reason to have them. And like I said, I got asparagus back there, and it'll come back year after year. It's a 20-year thing, so that way I can kind of keep track of it and not have to worry about weeding it and mowing over it. But my fourth thing is, you've got to keep this watered more than you would an in-ground water. When you use don't matter what kind of soil you use, I use all kinds of combinations. I just use whatever's cheapest. Even that, they had a set on in-ground garden soil. I used it on these two beds here and on this big bed right here. So, use anything you want, but when you use it like that, it's not like my soil here. You got to keep this watered. So I water this at least twice a day. And if I get rain, I don't worry about it. But like I just planted these and we watered those. We planted some more carrots. Now carrots are different. You got to keep them continuously moist. So I'll come by here 3 or 4 times a day and wet them down. Once they kind of get established, like that bed of carrots back here, I water it once a day. These beets I water once a day. But you have to keep them watered. It's kind of that way. It's more like a container. We're growing tomatoes in containers this year, and I water them at least once a day. Today I might do twice, depends how the sunlight is. So I'm gonna water those twice a day. So just remember, you can put in some kind of drip irrigation. I don't much care for that, but if you want it, you put it on a timer and not have to worry about it. I like to come down here and water. It's relaxing to me. It's relaxing, plus I can keep a close eye on everything. I can scout. If you're watering, you'll know something a little different. So that's my number 4 thing. You got to keep these things watered. You just can't water it and let it go like you kind of in like a real, in-ground garden. Even though this is raised up, it's the soil you put in here. You got to keep it moist. My number 5 and final tip is the spacing. This is 3 by 6. The first one we did, I built out of wood. I made it 4 by 4 to me, and then I put them back to back, so you couldn't reach over in the middle. So 4 is too long, too wide. If I'd put spacing in it, it'd probably been all right, but I did not space them. So like this one and this one, I've got space between them, and I can walk to this side, do my weeding, do my harvesting, do my planting, whatever. If I put these side by side without any space behind them, you wouldn't be able to work this. It'd be too hard to do. So that's my number 5 tip: space them. If you build them out of wood, I like this 3 by 6 in a big size. So kind of keep that in mind. It'd be easier to build it 2 by 6 money wise, but if you had some scrap, like I did that up there, I just had some 4-foot stuff and I built it 4 by 4, but I put them side by side, and didn't work out for me. And I didn't put nothing underneath it too. No, you don't think those weeds will come up through there. This one's 2 foot high. These are 1 foot high. The one I made was a 2 by 12, and the weeds came up through there. It looked like your yard, So they'll come up through there. So you got to put something down. So that's I guess that's all my tips. That's 5 tips. I can't think of anything more. If you follow those tips, you should be pretty successful. Like I'm gonna put lettuce back here. I'm having a hard time growing lettuce, so I'm gonna put a little test plot back here, see how it does in raised beds. And we're gonna fill these up now. I've got a few videos back. Go back there and you can see how we fill these up. I fill these up with wood chips, and then I put the dirt on top of that, because it'd be expensive to fill this up 2 foot by. This would take a lot of money, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Even if you bought in bulk and did it in bulk, this would take a whole scoop of bulk potting mix to fill up. So if you fill it up, about 2/3 of the way up with chips or twigs or rotten logs or whatever, and put your dirt on top of that, you'll be better off. All right, that's it. I hope y'all have a good garden season. Hope these tips help you. Appreciate you watching. Give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, support your local farmer. We'll see you down here we'll see you down here in the farm in the next video.